What you very clearly saw in that video was Mobashir, an American citizen, someone who has been here nearly his entire life, tackled, handcuffed, taken into custody for no reason at all, in clear violation of law and the Constitution of the United States, for simply walking down the street and looking like he's Somali. This should make every single person in America, whether you are a Democrat or Republican, livid. For those that believe in the work of the founding fathers, for those that believe in the maintenance and endurance of our republic, for those that want to stand up for justice, now's the time to be speaking out. Because I've got one basic question for everybody who's watching, and I'm looking for one basic answer. Are you an American citizen? If you are an American citizen, you yourself may be in the crosshairs of this administration, because in that sense, you're no different than Mobashir. This is a person that was leaving for his lunch break. This was a person who was out on the street doing literally nothing wrong. And what we saw by these ICE agents that clearly did not know what they were doing was violence and unwillingness to hear the simple truth, which he was repeating again and again, which is, I'm an American citizen. Those were the words that he was saying again and again. Those words, if nothing else, should give them a minute of pause so that they could find out, hey, who are you? What's your name? Are you a citizen or not? Have you done literally anything wrong at all other than existing in the world? The answer is, of course, no. And the reason we're here right now is, I believe, some directives were given from pretty high up that just can't be carried out. Directives like, I want you to go to Minneapolis and target the Somali community and deport a bunch of illegal or undocumented immigrants. You know, go to a factory or go to a meatpacking plant, find a bunch of Somalis that aren't undocumented, arrest them, detain them, and then deport them. But here's the thing. That meatpacking plant, that factory, you won't find a whole bunch of undocumented Somalis there. Why? Because for the most part, they're all American citizens, like you and like me. They get up in the morning, they go to work like Mobashir, they drop their kids off at daycare, they go and work a long shift, they try to get through a long Minnesota winter together. These people are our community members, they are our neighbors, they have made Minneapolis a better place. Juxtapose that against what we're seeing from some of these federal agents right now. They don't know how to operate under the Constitution. They don't know how to keep people safe. They don't know how to catch criminals, because certainly Mobashir is not one. They don't even really know how to drive in the snow. It's pathetic. So right now, all of us are in a position to be speaking up. Our residents deserve better from the federal government. They deserve transparency. They deserve communication. What they don't deserve is headlocks in the middle of the winter in the snow, being detained and taken off somewhere, God knows where, without your family or your friends even knowing where you are. That's not what they deserve. So Minneapolis is not going to stand by this kind of crap. We won't stand by federal agents that are conducting this kind of pathetic operation where you're consistently against the law, against the Constitution, detaining American citizens. Again, basic law. Mobashir is going to tell a story in a second, and you'll hear directly from him. But what I'll say is there's a lot of other people in our city and around the country who've had very similar experiences. One of the most shocking things about watching this video is that it's not that shocking, because you turn on any news station, open up any paper, check out social media, And you see this happening all the time. We can't become accustomed to this. This cannot be normalized. We've read in history books about people being taken away and picked up for no reason at all. Let us not allow it here in our city. Let us not allow that here in our country. So we're calling for answers. We're demanding accountability. We want immediate changes on how these operations are being carried out. Minneapolis, to put it simply, we are anti-criminal. We're anti-gun violence. We're anti-rapist. We're anti-whatever it is that they want to create as sort of a facade for some of the stuff that they're doing. We will do everything possible to keep our residents safe. That's not what's happening now. They're talking about all these instances. That's not what's happening now. What is happening and what we're seeing is them illegally and unconstitutionally taking people like Mobashir. Not on our watch. That cannot happen in our city. Get out. They deserve the same rights as every other American because they are American citizens. They've got the full support of this city government behind them. And with that, I want to apologize to our neighbor here, Mobashir. I want to thank him for his courage in standing up and doing this here. I'm deeply concerned about what's going on erupting in somebody getting hurt or killed. I'm deeply concerned about what's going on here escalating and somebody getting hurt or killed. Anybody getting hurt or killed. We cannot have that in our country. Mobashir.
Thanks, Mayor. And good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mobashir, and I never expected to be standing in front of all these cameras and microphones. But what happened to me cannot stay quiet. What happened to me was unjust, uncalled for. I was simply on my lunch break. I literally went downstairs from my building. I wasn't even outside for mere seconds before I seen a masked person running at me full speed. He tackled me, pushed me inside the restaurant, like as you can see in the video. I told him I'm a U.S. citizen, what is going on? He didn't seem to care. He dragged me outside through the snow while I was handcuffed, restrained, helpless, and he pushed me to the ground, and he put me in a chokehold. And that was very uncalled for. I thought I got really hurt. And after that, they put me inside the vehicle. And they asked me, we have to verify if you're a U.S. citizen because I believe you're an illegal citizen because you ran from me. But as you can see in the videos that will be released, I'm simply just standing still. I asked them, okay, they said, let me take a picture of you to scan your face to see if you're a U.S. citizen. I declined because how will a picture prove I'm a U.S. citizen? I told him I have my passport. It's in my phone. Can I open and show you? He declined. I told him, can I give you my name and my date of birth? He declined. So he took me on the other side of Cedar, and they kept me there for 45 minutes. Just asking, we have to scan your face. We have to scan your face. After about a whole hour, they said, okay, we can do your fingerprints on our phones. And the fingerprints were not working. So I guess they waited on 20 more minutes, and they said, we're going to take you into Bishop Henry, all the way in Bloomington. While they were driving me all the way there, they were wasting time. They kept going back in the same highway. I told them, are you guys lost? But they said, yeah, this is our first time taking someone in. And I told, they had the maps out and everything, and they were trying to intimidate me. So after I arrived at the facility, they parked up, the gate was closed, and they made me step outside in the snow while it was snowing, and they said, we have to scan your face or we're not going to let you inside the car. So I had no choice. I let them scan my face. I was so cold. I guess the face thing, I guess it didn't work. So they finally took me inside the facility. They kept me there for another 20, 30 minutes. I seen other people that would get in holding cells. And at that time, I asked for water. They declined my water. And I also asked for medical assistance 'cause my hands were numb and my back was hurting because he pushed me down and he put his whole body weight. They told me we don't have any medical staff at the facility. So I said, can I get water at least? They declined. And I guess finally some lady listened. I told her, yo, can you turn on my phone? I have my passport card. And she finally let me use my phone. I showed her. And she said, okay, we still have to do your fingerprints. I did my fingerprints. And they finally let me go. And I asked them earlier today, you told me you were going to take me back to Cedar where you picked me up at. Are you guys going to still offer me a ride? Because at that point, I didn't know if anyone knew where I was because they turned off my phone, they turned off my location. They don't, like, you don't know where you're at. So I asked them, can you take me back to where you picked me up from? They said, no, you have to walk in the snow. Like, they were being serious. I asked 3 times, they said, no, you're walking. But eventually my parents came and picked me up. And yeah, all I did was step outside as a Somali American, and I just got chased by a masked person. The agent didn't, at one point, he didn't identify himself. He didn't say, ICE, stop. Like, I felt like I was getting assaulted. I was getting kidnapped, and that's exactly what it was. And the way they were treating me, it was inhumane. They dragged me across the road. They slammed me to the ground, choked me. That was uncalled for. There's also more videos of someone came out. They had a copy of my passport. And I told the agent, he has my passport copy. And he said, we don't care, we're still taking you in. And they kept me for 2 hours. And if this is what's happening to a U.S. American citizen on camera, imagine what could happen to your loved ones when there's no one around to witness what they're doing. But thankfully, my incident was caught on cameras. It was posted all over social media. This shouldn't be happening to anyone. We shouldn't feel a target just because we're Somalis. Yeah, man, that's not right.
That's right. Yes. Good job.
Thank you, Mobashir. And like the mayor, I apologize that this happened to you in my city with people wearing vests that say police. That's embarrassing. But what really gets me is that this is just one story today. And it's a little overwhelming, just the volume of stories we're trying to sift through and figure out what's true and what's not, and kind of what may be happening. Like our mayor has said, we understand federal law enforcement has a job to do. To the extent that federal law enforcement is being precise, conducting targeted operations, and making lawful arrests, we understand that. I have no objection to that, of course. We would just hope that at least from a tactical perspective, things could be well planned beforehand, both for the safety of law enforcement as well as for the safety of people in our community. And that we wouldn't have to deal with so many stories after the fact of what at the very least are just questionable methods. And clearly, a use of resources that doesn't appear to be getting a return on investment. You know, I am proud of how the men and women of the Minneapolis Police Department have been handling this. With people in the field last night, with some of our lieutenants this morning that have been dealing with this and monitoring the situation. I wish the public could see how well they are managing such a difficult role. And a volume of which that they're trying to manage and trying to sift through and figure out what's true and what's not, while we're still trying to do our day-to-day responsibilities. That being said, again, random efforts in which individuals who are, including individuals who are American citizens, are being stopped because they appear to be Latino or because they appear to be Somali is wrong. And even, you know, as I'm sure everyone has seen just on social media and in some of these stories, the things we've seen, just, again, some of the manner and the methods in which these things are happening is just not safe for anyone involved. So, thank you, Mayor.
We'll stand for questions.
Mayor Frey,
Yes.
you're a civil rights attorney by training. Is the conduct we saw in these videos, and are some of the accounts we've seen in recent days, for instance, the woman who was an observer who was taken into custody yesterday, are these violations of Minnesota criminal statutes? Are they violations of civil rights law under federal law? And if so, who do you think can and should take remedial action?
You're asking exactly the right question. The question for those that didn't hear is this a violation of Minnesota law, federal law, constitutional law? While I can't speak to every instance, I'm not aware of all the details from the one that you referenced yesterday. Under any law and under the United States Constitution, you can't tackle somebody because they look Somali without knowing who they are, what their name is, and you can't then detain them for purposes of immigration when they're a complete legal American citizen, when they have tried to provide information showing that they're an American citizen, where you have declined to receive that information, which you saw in this video. What we are seeing again and again is discrimination only to the extent that it applies to certain groups. So they are discriminating only as it applies to, are you a Latino person? Are you a Somali person? Once that's been established, as far as we can tell, there are countless incidents where the arrest, the detention is indiscriminate. You can't do that. You can't do that in Minneapolis. You can't do that anywhere in this country, not because I'm a progressive liberal mayor or whatever. You can't do that because it's against the law.
Talk about the fact that these are being observed and videoed, and I wonder just how the interactions might be different if these ICE Watch folks weren't out there and you were doing this and nobody saw it.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand the question. Can you repeat that?
Trying to get you to talk about the ICE Watch, the observers,
Oh,
and
sure.
just kind of the way that they might change the dynamic in a situation like this.
So the question was, how might the watchers, those that are videotaping what's going on, might change the dynamic? I mean, you would hope that when you got a video on you, you'd conduct yourself differently. You'd hope that you'd be abiding by the Constitution, whether or not it's being filmed. Look, I'm glad we've got video of this. I'm glad there are people out there taking footage of what is actually happening. I mean, you all, especially who have talked to me locally, know that I'll often try to take a beat. What happened, who was involved, what was the reasoning, why were they detained, was it legitimate? I mean, these are all questions that generally you should ask. We got this thing on footage, though. You're seeing it for yourself. This guy's no criminal. He's an American citizen who has lived here nearly his entire life, who was going to take a lunch break.
Just making sure, so Mobashir has no criminal record that this was related to, right?
Yeah, no.
And can we get like an approximate location where this was?
Yeah, this happened at Cedar and 4th by West Spring Diner. I came downstairs from the building.
Can you step in
Yeah,
front
sorry.
of the mic, please?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, this happened by 4th and Cedar by Saga Restaurant and West Spring Diner. I simply came downstairs from upstairs to Walter and Nett's restaurant that's less than 5 steps. And all I seen was a masked person just running at me, and he just tackled me, pushed me inside the restaurant, and used excessive force on me, as shown in the video and the surveillance footage.
What type of work do you do, Mobashir?
Uh-huh.
What type of work do you do? What do you do for a living?
I don't want to answer that.
Okay. And how long ago did you move here from Somalia, or were you born here?
I came here when I was about 4 or 5 years old. I was here my whole life.
You're 20 years old now?
Yep.
Mayor Jacob Frey, we just heard from an immigration attorney who said a September Supreme Court ruling paved the way for racial profiling to be legal by ICE agents. What are your thoughts on that?
So the question was, there's a September Supreme Court ruling that has paved the way for
racial profiling to be legal, for ICE to be able to do that legally.
I would need to read the case. I'd need to study up on the law before I answered the question.
Logistically, then, what happens next?
Chief can answer. Chief can
I
answer.
think that question is accurate, but it doesn't mean it's right.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get back to you on that. I would need to check it out.
Logistically, what happens next then? Is it somebody who's in this position personally can file a lawsuit?
Yeah.
So you continue to stand up and stand beside our neighbors and condemn this? You
Yeah,
know
yeah,
it's wrong.
yeah.
know
You know
it's
it's wrong.
illegal. So what do you do?
You all know this is wrong. You all know this ain't legal. Well, obviously, we've got work that is happening with litigation that we are filing preemptively. We're working with cities and mayors and attorneys general and governors from around the country to make sure that we're coordinated on a legal strategy. Additionally, individuals that were impacted here directly, like Mobashir, would have standing to they themselves bring suit either individually or as part of a class. And you can get information, or you can submit your own experience on what happened to intake.aclu-mn.org/. And that will help you get connected with people that are doing the work of making sure that these cases are being heard in full. Again, like, I'm not going to stand up here and give you every in and out of the law. Not wearing my attorney hat here, nor am I equipped to do that. What I can tell you is that, come on, the most basic foundation of who we collectively are as Americans and as a people, this is wrong. Yeah. Yeah.
My name is Liban Hussein. I'm from the Somali community. I'm also
Liban.
in journalism. As a Somali, my kid is going to school. When they see like this brother is a citizen has been arrested. I mean, all citizens like me, they don't want to come outside the house because they're scared. Some of them, they can't even go groceries. So, what suggestion are you suggesting them as a mayor?
You know, Liban, you're asking the right question, and I'm going to take a beat before I answer it, because I want to make sure the guidance that I am giving, which candidly is shifting in my mind, is right and is correct. So again, it is a fair question, and I think it's fair to hold me accountable to answer that question. But you know, I have a few ideas in my mind as to how we want to approach this, and we're going to be disseminating information to you directly and others in the coming days.
Mayor Frey, since the June 3rd federal operation that was on Lake Street and other locations, there have been no charges or arrests that have been announced, like, related to the alleged drug trafficking. The only publicly known arrest was the restaurant owner that was for a charge of illegal reentry. Do you still maintain that that operation was not related to immigration enforcement?
I don't know if, Chief, if you got any additional information on it here at this point. I think the first point, which again has been investigated again and again, is that we were not involved in it. We found out about that operation after it was already taking place. We were able to get out of that situation without massive issue or significant or more violence or people getting substantially hurt, which is obviously something that we were deeply concerned about. And there's been reports about what was indeed recovered in terms of the narcotics. There's an important point that needs to be made. We do and have, under multiple administrations, worked with federal agents to enforce the law, to prosecute criminals, to prevent gun violence. We've worked with agents, our U.S. Attorney's Office and beyond, to get guns off the streets and to make sure that people who were responsible for gun violence, regardless of their background or ethnicity, are held accountable. We still do that work of making sure that people are safe and perpetrators of violent crime are held accountable every day. That's part of our job. What we are seeing now is not that. Again, what we are seeing now is not that. And that's where this deep concern comes from. And so, look, if federal agents have information about a criminal who has killed somebody with a gun, yeah, we're on board with arresting that individual. What we're not on board with is tackling somebody in the snow who has done nothing wrong. This is so basic. This is so obvious. That everybody is not taking these basic and obvious positions is beyond me.
Mayor, what do you say to those people who watch these videos and just say ICE is just doing their job? What's your response to that?
I'm not sure that some of them know what job they're doing. You know, I mean, these operations are not methodical, planned out, targeted at violent criminals, clearly. This is the kind of deal where you're randomly stopping somebody on the street because they look Somali or Latino.
Two more questions.
Mobashir, did you at any point get the names of any of the officers who took you into custody and who were reviewing your status? And was there ever an apology or an acknowledgement that you shouldn't have been detained to begin with?
No, at any point, none of the agents identified themselves. I only know one agent. His name is Agent Barry.
Barry?
Yeah, and it's the one that put me in a chokehold and slammed me to the ground. And no,
How do you think his name is spelled? B-E-R-R-Y?
B-A-R-R-I, I think.
And a first name or last name?
I think that's his first name.
Okay.
I
Did
overheard.
you see that on a badge or where?
I know they had no badge numbers, no names. The only reason I know that's his name is one of the agents said his name, so that's his first name.
When you were in the jail, did you see a lot of other Somali or Latino people there? What did you see in there?
I seen a lot of Hispanic people. They were in holding cells. I think they were about to be sent to Omaha.
Did they make you like shackle? I've heard some people.
Yeah, they put me with shackles on the feet. Yeah.
Did they ever say why you were singled out?
I know he said apparently just because you turn around for me, I believe you're an illegal citizen. And I don't know how that made sense. I didn't even see him first. All I did was turn around. When I seen a blacked out car pull up, I just turned around to go back inside the office. And I just seen him behind me just running towards me. He pushes me inside the restaurant, and I thought it was a random person assaulting me or kidnapping me. Cause
So you didn't even get a chance to run if you wanted to, right?
no, he didn't even say anything. He didn't even say stop, ICE.
Well, that's an important. Can you repeat that again? You didn't even know. You could have been a random person.
I didn't even know who it was. I just seen a person in a mask just come out the car, sprint at me full speed. No word, no nothing. Just push me inside the restaurant.
Last question.
So in the video, you can hear him saying, "Why are you running? Why were you running?" So you're saying you were not running, just to be clear.
I turned around because I just seen a random person with a mask coming out the car so fast, running at me. I didn't know what was going on. I thought it was a random person.
So now, tell me, how do you feel? Do you want to come outside again, or you want to stay home? What do you feel now? What is in your?
I don't even want to come outside no more. All I did was try to get some food outside, and I can't even get food without being tackled and put in a chokehold.
Do you think you might have been mistaken for somebody else that they were after? Or is it
Definitely not. I felt targeted. Any Somali he sees, I guess he just wants to tackle them and push them to the ground.
All right, that's
Thanks,
it. Thank you,
everybody.
guys.